say you understand that.
All
Yes.
right.
Mhm.
Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. My name is Reverend Dr. Pjae Stanley, and this is Thought Leader Thursday. As you know, our regular guest for today was Reverend Paul Hoyt, and he had a family emergency. So myself and Bill Marchioni and Michelle Whittington, we looked and thought, what could we do? We could try to get a different speaker. There were some different choices that we thought about, but what really resonated with all of us was that we actually hear from you, because you guys are actually, believe it or not, I know you believe it or not, but you all are new thought leaders. And so you come every time and you listen to what someone else has to say, but we'd like to hear what you have to say about what's happened in your life. Share some of the great things that have been happening with you, some things that are working for you, things that you've negotiated and worked through, whatever it is that you might want to share. We really wanted to hear from you. I heard something the other day, a quote, and it said, "Do not add to the first impression." And it really, for whatever reason, it just resonated so with me, because the first impression being, what's really going on, and then all the stories you tell after it is the things that we add to it. And everyone does that. I talk with my daughter about that, and the moment I talk with her, she goes, "Oh my God, Mom," and she had so much to say about it. So the reason why I shared that with you is that as we share, if something resonates with you today about something that someone shares, that's why you're here. That's why you're here. So I'm so grateful that you're all here. We're going to go ahead and get started with a prayer. Michelle, I know you're leaving, so I'm going to ask you if you would be willing to open it for us, and then we'll get moving.
I'd love to.
Thank you.
And I'm not leaving permanently. I just may have to step away, but I'll come back.
Okay.
But I would love to open us in prayer. Just so lovely to see all of your gorgeous faces. And if you feel comfortable, close your eyes and just take a couple of deep breaths and allow your body, your heart, your mind to relax into the moment. I even like to say to soften into the moment,
Mm.
this present moment, which is rich and full, and in fact, all there ever is or will be, this present moment. So as we breathe and soften into this moment, we open our hearts to Source, to the recognition of this infinite love that surrounds, enfolds, and lives within us, to infinite love and joy and peace and abundance and flow. So grateful for this time. We call it good and we let it be. And so it is.
And so it is. And so it is. All right. So again, thank you so much. I don't know if you all had an opportunity to look at the questions. I think that Bill sent out a new invitation and had a couple of other questions that were on there. I'm going to go ahead and start with um, what are we most grateful for? Since we just had Thanksgiving, and this is a time of the year that we get to take a look at and be thankful for so many things. I'm going to start off with that question, and I'm going to ask if you have a comment, something you want to share, just go ahead and raise your hand, the digital hand, and we will call on you as your hand comes up. If you have a question or a comment as well on whatever it is someone is saying, go ahead and raise your hand and make that comment as well. So we're just going to do it like we normally do. We're just going to be asking questions, and everyone gets to speak whenever they're ready and have something to say. So I see Reverend Jeannie Sovereigns has something that she'd like to share. Thank you, Jeannie.
Good morning. So great to see everybody. So for me, I wanted to share that I just recently had a full knee replacement
Hmm.
2 days ago. And the gratitude that I'm having right now is I had a couple of years ago had my hip replaced, and I had some serious problems, not problems, but inability to move forward, right? Like there was a lot of pain and everything in it. And this time I did a couple of things different, both physically, but mentally and spiritually, like accepting healing, receiving healing instead of fighting it. I am one of those people who fights for my disease sometimes and my uncomfortability. I will be like, no, you don't understand how bad it is. And I changed that perception on this procedure and on this knee. And I cannot tell you the difference that this has made in my life. Like, I'm walking normal. I have less pain than I had going into the procedure. Like, this is so good, so good. And what it really taught me, besides that I should really pay attention to the things that I preach, that that this, how I usually say this shit really works, that it really does. And that the change in my thinking did change the level of pain, the level of acceptance and awarenessing of my body. And I am so grateful for that. And I'm grateful for this time off to heal, and spend it doing wonderful things like this. So thank you for letting me share that with all of you. I so appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Jeannie. And it's so true that we we talk and we say what our spiritual beliefs are, but the actual act of remembering those in the times that would be so useful for us is really an activity that we just have to continue to learn. We don't have to, but if we want to be on the spiritual path, continue to learn and to take part of again and again and remember over and over and over again. So thank you for sharing that. Robert, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. I'm immediately grateful that Jeannie is moving forward. So congrats on the healing. Mostly because we have a conversation later today about going forward. And I love that part of it. And it's going to sound really super sappy, but when I heard the question, the first thing that jumped into my mind is I'm really in an experience of gratitude for ANTN.
Yeah.
This group of people, and as the new guy on the board, it's it's easy to say, but it's this whole year, as I've reflected over this whole entire year, what this group of individuals and organizations and hearts is doing, I think is incredibly important for the forward movement of new thought. And I love the relationships, the connections, the opportunities, the patience, the forgiveness. I am absolutely grateful for the yes that ANTN not only promotes but lives up to.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing greater actually than this community and as it's expressing. So that's me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Very good. Thank you. Anyone else before we move off? Anyone else want to share what they're grateful for? Oh, Michelle.
Hi, well, I will ditto everything Robert just said, and I didn't get to hear the other ones because of what I had to go do. So that's going to be my gratitude. My garage door broke yesterday with my car in it. And so I'm grateful for my neighbor who happened to be walking by and helped me lift it. Well, I didn't really do it. He lifted it up so I could get out. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful that I called the company right before this call, and they arrived while I was doing the opening prayer, which is why it was so short because I had a knock on my door happening. And I am grateful that he can fix it right now and in 45 minutes. And $500 later, it will be fixed. And I'm grateful that I really do believe I always live in the flow and there's no problem paying that $500 unexpected bill. So
Yes,
filled with gratitude this morning for that.
absolutely. Thank you. That's a great story. Thank you so much for sharing that, Michelle. Reverend Dr. Sherry, what would you like to share with us? You're muted. You're muted, Sherry.
Well, I clicked it. It was supposed to unclick when I clicked it. I have I've been thinking for a few days now about gratitude in general, and And I every now and then, God reminds me that humor is a divine property, a
Yes.
divine characteristic, because it occurred to me that everything Robert said and more, that since I found Anton and the past 2 years, my biggest problem, pretty much my only problem, is that I just can't figure out how to say thank you big enough.
Mm.
It's like the two little words just aren't, I want to put them in, write them in stars in the sky or something, because they're just not big enough.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that is the truth. And I'm grateful that I'm able to recognize that is the truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's part of the gratitude, right? Even recognizing that you have things to be grateful for, which we all do, but just recognizing that, because sometimes we don't. So thank you so much. And thank you all that shared what you're grateful for. Oh, I see. Reverend Steve, you have your hand up. Reverend Steve Albert, you have your hand up? Yes.
I apologize.
No, it's okay. Nothing to be proud of.
In what was just being said, I am so grateful to Anton.
Mm.
Pardon me. For years, I have said, as everyone here has said, that new thought is what everybody should be doing. Right?
Mm.
And so Abigail and I have moved into interfaith, pardon me. And we've had the opportunity to be with so many different faith groups and cultures. And our greatest experience was being at the Parliament.
Mm. Yes.
And this year, Anton took and New Thought in general, took a major step in announcing themselves to the rest of the world.
Yes.
We were there at the Parliament in droves. It was wonderful. And I thank every one of you who had anything to do with being at the Parliament, helping at the Parliament, whatever. You are notifying everybody from any different faith that we exist.
Yeah.
And probably everyone that was there talked to at least one or two other people who were not of New Thought background,
Right.
who said to you, oh, we believe that too.
Yeah.
And that's the way we get our name out there, by them realizing we are more than a movement. We are a faith, a world faith that has the ability to present and affect the world. So I wanted to thank anybody and everybody, including you, Shari.
Yeah.
She helped us put the entire room together. She was incredible. And those of you who had the booth were different booths. I mean, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm grateful for.
Thank you so much, Dr. Steve. Appreciate that. Reverend Melissa, I see your hand is up. Sorry.
Good day, everybody. So I'm grateful to attend my first meeting.
Oh, welcome. And this is a great one.
So thank you for extending the invitation, and I'm really grateful to be here. I'm also grateful for, there's so much, but one of the things that makes me so happy was I'm grateful that I have a gratitude practice.
Yes.
So every single day, I call him my soul brother, Sekou, and I leave each other voice messages of what we're grateful for.
Oh, nice.
And we've been doing this since COVID started. So it's been 3 years now.
Nice.
And it's just a really powerful practice. And I just love the energy and the vibration of gratitude. It shifts me every single time. So thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you so much for sharing that. Reverend Sherry, you have another comment, and then Celeste will come to you. Go ahead, Reverend Sherry.
I just wanted to reinforce what Reverend Dr. Steve said, that
Oh,
the
yeah.
Parliament was astounding. And what I found remarkable was not just that I spoke to dozens of people who were from other faiths, but that they all said the same thing. Nobody was interested in anything except how we were alike.
Exactly. Beautiful.
And it was a mountaintop thing for me.
Thank you. Celeste.
Yes. My latest point of gratitude, rather than my traditional gratitudes,
Okay.
is that I am sharing my home with some sculpture from the Boca Raton Center, and behind me or next to me is the bust of Quimby that my father did.
Oh, so nice.
And
Celeste, that's great. Yes.
soon to be joined by the bust of Ernest Holmes.
Woohoo! Wow.
As soon as I
Lovely.
can get somebody to help me get it into my car, because they cast it in bronze, so it's a little bit heavier than
Yeah. Well,
than
that's wonderful.
Quimby is.
Wonderful.
But yes, my
Thank-
traditional gratitudes are always for indoor plumbing, air conditioning, and the internet.
Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Celeste. I appreciate you. Patricia, you have your hand up.
I do, and I apologize for coming in late, but it sounds like you were asking for gratitude. So,
Yes.
what I'm grateful for are many things, but one of the things I'm most grateful for is that we are launching on January 24th, 2024, in Ocala, Florida, where I live, a heart-centered gratitude practice for the whole city, for the community, and which means anchoring to the feeling of gratitude in my heart
Yeah.
or their hearts all day, learning how to do it all day, every day, and the profound changes that occur because of that.
Yes.
I'm partnering with Dr. Manal Fakuri, who's the founder of All in Women International, and also with Steve Havel from HeartMath. So,
okay.
yes, and so we're hoping that this will be a launch that we can monitor, that we can actually measure the energy field in Ocala before, during, and after the year. So that others will take it and do it in their own communities and see the difference it makes.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Look forward to hearing from you about how that went. Tell me what you called it at the beginning. It kind of muffled when you said what it was. What is it you're calling it?
It's heart-centered gratitude. It's living in heart-centered
Heart-centered.
gratitude.
Okay.
Yes, anchoring to the feeling of gratitude in the heart all day, every day.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's wonderful. Thank you all for sharing uh, your feelings of gratitude. Um, the next question that I have, if no one else has anything that they want to share about gratitude, is what is your go-to spiritual practice? What is the thing that you go to no matter what happens? That's the one that serves you so well. What is that you go to? Yes, Michelle.
So I just used it this morning.
There you go.
If ever anything happens that like gets me a little, I have a saying, and it automatically goes off on my head, and it's this: I cannot wait to see how God works this out.
Yes, yes, yes.
And you know what? God always
Always
works this out.
Oh man, that is fantastic. I can't wait to see how God works this out. Beautiful. That's wonderful. Thank you. Bill has his hand up, and then Catherine, I'll come to you. Thank you.
The typical one for me is stop, drop, and pray. Just and put your own oxygen mask and prayer on first before praying for others. And I mean, all of the other little cliche things. And having a quick affirmation like Michelle's is wonderful as well.
Yes.
So just keep those around, because it's easy to remember to pray when everything's going all right.
Right. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. Are you fit to? Okay, didn't mean to cut you off if you weren't.
Nope, that's me.
That was great. Thank you. Stop, drop, and pray. I love it. Catherine?
Well, daily meditation. I really need to sit quietly and, be within myself to feel the God, all that is within myself, and prayer treatment. I think it's daily for specific things as I'm going along. I'm treating in prayer treatment. So those two things, but meditation especially.
Yeah, gotcha.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing that, Catherine. Wait, yeah, Patricia, you had your hand up.
I did, and it plays into what everyone has just shared, especially what Catherine just said. Meditation is my go-to,
Yeah.
and prayer. But mine is attuning my mind to God mind in whatever form that is, whether it's affirming or meditation or prayer. And recently, I just got a song because attuning my mind to God mind is the flip side of living in heart centered gratitude
Right.
that I call the divine two step of dancing our way to heaven on earth, where we can attune our mind to God mind while living in heart centered gratitude. But this song came into my mind just last week, and it's in realizing oneness, realizing our oneness with God. I think it will actually embed our subconscious with a realization of omnipresence. So I'm going to share it in the chat if that's okay with
Yes,
you.
please do. Yeah,
Okay.
anyone has anything they want to share that we can take off because we get a copy of the chat, right, Bill? So we can.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so if anyone wants to, can't grab it all, we can send that out to everyone. So please leave your thoughts or your whatever it is that you want to share in the chat, and we can get it out to everybody. Thank you. Two people, Robert, and then you, Reverend Melissa. Robert.
I got to throw visioning into the ring because
Yes.
whether it's a full experience of several questions and a dedicated 45 minutes or an hour, or whether it's just in the minute of, okay, what needs to be released in order for the highest to emerge in this situation, if from one question to a series. And it feels a lot like what Patricia was sharing, that constant introspection and connection with that divine flow of wisdom. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Robert. Reverend Melissa, and then Sherry, and then Jeannie.
So something that I've been cultivating this past year is taking prayer walks and being out in nature. And there's a tree that I discovered in the woods not far from where I live. And so I pray with this tree, and the tree prays with me. And it's just extraordinary experience to be one with nature and to listen and hear what it has to say.
Oh, lovely. Wow, that makes me want to breathe. Just wow, nice. Thank you so much. So Reverend Sherry, then Reverend Jeannie, then Reverend Dr. Carla. Sherry?
My grandma used to say there's a blessing in every lesson. And my father liked to tell goofy jokes like the one about the little boy who cussed on Christmas morning. And so those two things have blended together into my favorite spiritual practice, which is to say, I know there's a pony in here someplace. Where's my shovel? And the shovel is prayer.
Yeah. There's definitely a pony. Thank you, Sherry. Reverend Jeannie.
For me, mindfulness is like the go-to thing.
Okay.
I tend to, if something's quaking me, I have to go to a place where I can begin within and center myself. And I know Reverend Michelle has talked about this as well, the positive intelligence, but I'm going to give her a little plug. She's got a thing coming up for that. And this has been a game changer for me. Again, I know what to do. I know what to say, but changing it and actually doing it in my life has been amazing. So mindfulness and easy mindfulness, whether it's petting my cat or rubbing two fingers together or finding all my toes or breathing in and out, just to put myself back to center with whatever's happened, has not only changed how I behave, but it has changed my interactions with others and how I see the world.
Thank you.
And
so
Michelle
much.
can tell you more.
Thank you, Jeannie. Appreciate it. Dr. Carla.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So after our big move in April, I started to get back into meditation practice, and since the library was finally unpacked and into a permanent place, I started reading books on my shelves I haven't read in years, if ever, new books that are sitting there. One of which was The Power of Meditation by Edward Viljoen, Viljoen. And it's a powerful book for me because it provides so many different forms of meditation, and my busy mind has struggled with meditating for quite a while. One thing that has seemed to alleviate that busyness is to keep a meditation journal, which sits on your lap during meditation. And I can write down those interrupting thoughts, not worry about forgetting them later, and go on with the meditation. And that has been very calming practice for me now.
Yeah, that's a great idea because that's part of the thing with meditation. Things come up and you don't want to forget it. So just jotting it down, you can let it go and get on with it. So that's great. Thank you. That's great. Thanks for sharing that. That's wonderful. Reverend Lisa.
Okay, I'm unmuted. In addition to what everybody says, I do practicing the presence. It's something that Joel S. Goldsmith would call it, but it's meditation and walking, and being responsible for my thoughts. And that's really what a lot of this is about. But I wanted to say that another thing is scripture. And I know a lot of people don't like scripture, but I'm kind of on the interfaith side. So as a example, when the war in the Middle East broke out and there was all this crazy stuff, happening, is very disturbing to me. I actually picked up the Bhagavad Gita, which is a story that talks about a prince who has to fight another, and it really is a instruction book on Eastern practices. It really is, when you come down to it, that's what this is. And it turned out to be, I'm still making my way through it, but this time I am doing it with Sri Satchidananda, who basically died a long time ago, but he wrote a interpretation of this because I've picked up that book before and I thought, oh, this is great. But having somebody really talk to you each line as to what it really means, it has really helped with my reaction to current events, and is just another dimension into my practice. Right. And so I want to just say that getting back to whatever it is, whether it's whatever scripture means to you, it doesn't have to be, a recognized scripture. It could be whatever.
Right. Some spiritual readings. Right. Thank you so much, Lisa. Appreciate that. Anyone else want to share? I'm going to go ahead and just say real quickly what mine is, because it's something that it's just something that I do every time. It's not I don't have to think about it. It's something I've always done, and it's just asking. And I call Spirit George because we're on a first name basis. So I just ask us, George, what is this about? Just what is this about? Whatever it is, whatever is going on, what is this about? And I just feel really like I'm in touch with this guide all the time, that no matter what's going on, whether it's just some crazy thoughts going through my head, or it doesn't make any difference, I'll just ask him, George, what is this about? And the answer is there. So it's just constantly contacting and being able to touch bases with the God of my understanding. And it's just, I call it George. I don't believe that it's outside of me. I believe it's inside of me. It's just a way for me it's just a device that I use so that I can hear from myself, from my higher self, whenever I call upon it. So that's just what I do. And I love that. So thank you all so much. All right. Taking a breath. And the next question that we had was, it's kind of it's not a three-parter, but it has three pieces in it, whichever piece you want to speak to, if all three or two or one or none. It's what's been the greatest change or challenge or accomplishment that you wish to speak to us about today, this year, so far? What's been your greatest change or struggle or accomplishment this year? Yes, Catherine.
Well, I have several things. I finished my master's in religious studies for Emerson. I was at the graduation, and I was at the graduation with something. Many of you saw me. So I had Bell's palsy 2 days before the conference, and it was one of those things where I had to be my quiet self rather than my more extroverted self. So it was a real polar opposite thing for me. And I still enjoyed being there. And I showed up rather than go, oh, I can't do this because I can't eat and I can't, but I showed up. So that was a real accomplishment for me, plus the work of doing it. Secondly, I came back, and one of my projects as the pastoral care minister for this Unitarian church that, because there is no New Thought church around me, is getting all the older people, and we're all older, to sign their what do you call it, advanced directives and things like that, and really look at how the transitions in their life. So I've done one workshop with Dr. Ruth Miller. We're doing another one on December 9th. I would like to continue them every month for a few months, just so, because what happens is something happens and their pets aren't taken care of. No one knows the next of kin or the doctor or anything. So I'm gathering information, putting it in a locked cabinet in the church, and so I have something to work with. So that's a project that I've started and will continue. So I consider that an accomplishment for my community.
Yes, beautiful. Great. I'm going to talk with you about it. Can you put your information in the chat? Because I want to talk with you about that. Thank you. Lisa. And I see Reverend Melissa.
Yeah, I'm trying to. So the holiday seasons are very difficult when it comes to family because so many people have, let's say, challenges with their family. And the question is, what was your greatest struggle? And when it comes to family, that's pretty important to us, and that always gets to the top. And as ministers, we're probably hearing a lot about that this time of year. My husband and I have been foster parents for 4 children, not all at the same time. And that is a very complex family situation. And this holiday season, it was hard for us to come to terms with a very complicated relationship we had with one of our former foster kids. They've all grown up and they had their own children. And one of the things that we're very close with, still one of them, and she regards us as her parents, but her children don't. And that makes it very complicated. And this is the kind of thing that you're going to get if you're foster parents. But I really feel that this challenge was a blessing because it's the highest challenge you could do. How do you love somebody as if they're your own, but they're really not? And it's not, and you have no legal or biological connection to that. And what we had to do is I had to look at it straight in the face, and it was very disappointing because they love being, the grandchildren, or I call them grandchildren, love being with us, but they don't see us as relatives. Is look that straight in the eye and say, okay, I need to accept this right now because I'm 100% responsible for my reaction here. And not to judge it, not to do anything. And it took 3 days, but I had to move on. And really, the spiritual reading I was doing was helping me incredibly with this, not to become attached to what I thought something should look like, and kind of go with the flow and just still be there in the presence of love. And that's the challenge that is set forth to every human being. How can we love in very difficult, challenging situations?
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. So, and you're right. Family is just one of the ones where there's so much angst, that you just want so much and you just can't control anything. So, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. So, I have several people. I just want to let you know I have you all. Melissa, I have you're next, and then Reverend. I never get your name right. Mignon. Okay, I'll get your next, and then Jesus here next. Sherry after that, and then Patricia after that. So, Reverend Melissa.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So, I'll share one of my biggest accomplishments this year.
Great.
So since COVID, the New York City Marathon allows you to participate in the marathon virtually. So you just have to, wherever you are, as long as you do the 26.2 miles, it counts. And there's a way for you to submit your miles through an app called Strava. So this year, I participated in the New York City Marathon virtually, and I completed it the day before the actual marathon. And then at the actual marathon, I wind up walking with my friend who was in the marathon to help him finish. Yes. So, because he was struggling. Oh. So I am I'm waiting for my medal to come, and when it does, I'm gonna wear it every day.
Like it's jewelry.
Yes.
Good for you. Congratulations. That's just even thinking about that. I'm like, no, that's a hard pass. But it's not happening. Thank you. Reverend Pollard. I'm saying your last name because I never get your first name right. So
you got it right.
Did
Mignon.
I? Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah, mignon. Like filet. It's easy. Just think of steak.
Okay, all right. Thank you. That helps. Thank you.
Well, my greatest accomplishment this past year, and there are a lot of accomplishments, but actually my greatest accomplishment was doing the eulogy at my mother's funeral.
Ooh, yes.
Her celebration of life. Her celebration of life.
Yes.
That was that was the biggest challenge and the greatest accomplishment. It was all of that wrapped into one. That was back in June. And then I was really proud of myself for keeping my commitment to myself to go to Parliament after that, in August. And that was life-changing. So pretty much since I've been able to rise to that challenge of life has been getting better and better and better. It's an amazing thing. So, yeah, maybe my greatest accomplishment is surrendering to spirit. But anyway, yeah. And just a side note, because I've been really quiet. It's just, I'm grateful for all of you all. And I'm grateful for the Anton conference too. Oh my God, that was an amazing experience. So thank you.
Right. Thanks for being there. Yeah. Did you graduate? Because I remember your beautiful robe. I love that.
Well, I graduated in 2020. So
okay.
I walked.
You walked.
But but my greatest accomplishment was actually doing the service. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. Beautiful. Jesus.
Yes, thank you. My greatest accomplishment, I believe, is becoming a practitioner in 2023, because I wanted to be a practitioner for a while, but according to my schedule traveling, I never could have finished it. So through Zoom, I'm going to take the classes in planes, trains, in a lot of different ways. So that was really one of my goals, and it happened. I'm not going to say thanks to COVID, but all things work together for the good.
Right.
So that was one of the good things that could have opened the door for me. And my challenges are is to let go and let God.
Mm,
Trusting and having that faith, because trust and faith is basically the same word. It means the same thing. So trusting and having faith in God is the most challenging for me, but became the most beneficial because it works wonders and what we call or everybody call miracles. And it works miracles in my life. And having a mentor and a teacher like the Reverend Bill Marcioni, having a little patience with me, because that could be a little challenging too in classes and things like that, because I like to get really involved and it helped me in being a practitioner, because every assignment I made it real. So that was really unique. So yeah, thank you for listening.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, and congratulations. Congratulations. Beautiful. Reverend Dr. Sherry.
Well, my greatest accomplishment, I suppose technically, was that I finished my doctorate this year. But the greatest challenge and the greatest accomplishment to my heart was learning to sign amazing things so I could do that for my classmates at graduation.
Beautiful. Nice. Thank you for doing that. That was wonderful. Yes. Patricia, what do you want to share with us?
My greatest accomplishment this year, I feel, is when I was able to put together the years of energy healing that I experiences I learned from it, and meditation, and the metaphysical and spiritual principles that we've learned for decades, and bring it into realization. And explain that to people, that everything is energy and therefore everything is changeable, and that the frequency at which we vibrate is what outpictures in our lives. And the higher the vibrational frequency, the more heavenly life becomes. And by bringing that down into spiritual practices, that two-step practice that I mentioned earlier about attuning our mind to God mind while living in heart-centered gratitude, which I call becoming a living prayer of thanksgiving. So that, I think, is my greatest accomplishment so far, and it's still in the outworking of how it can come in, and that's where it brings it to challenges of creating it into a course of books and attaining my thesis and doctorate through it. So that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you so much for sharing that wonderful, great accomplishments. Thank you all so much for sharing. You guys want just so open, and I really appreciate you sharing your hearts and your love and your wisdom with us, Reverend Michelle.
So I have one that's actually going to be next year, but it started this year, and it's profound accomplishment and also a challenge. So I've been invited to go to India in January for an invitation-only leadership retreat.
Nice.
And so being invited is like blows my mind, and I'm so honored to have been invited. And going to India by myself, I'm a pretty independent person, but going to India by myself absolutely causes me to shake in my boots. So my challenge is, and I'm a believer in doing things that scare you and walking through that fear. I'm going to teach it. I better live it. And so I am absolutely going to do it. And doing it is a challenge because I really am scared. And I'm going to do it. And I know that the experience that I have there will be life-changing, transforming to me as a person, as a leader, as a citizen of this planet. I know it will be. So my greatest accomplishment in advance is attending that and walking through that challenge, that fearful that thing I have about going to India by myself.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Number one, it's even hard to admit to yourself that you're afraid of something. Just that something we're new thought. We've got to admit we're not afraid. Yeah, we are. And so to own that, and you it already did happen because you were invited this year. So that's definitely the accomplishment that you got invited. And I can't wait to hear what happens. You're exactly right. I know that you're going to come back so changed and wondering what were you worried about, because it's going to be such a beautiful experience. It doesn't matter you're worried now because you don't know what the future is. But I know from retrospect you're going to come back. And I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Thank you for sharing that. That's just going to be a beautiful thing. Thank you. Yeah. I'm keeping an eye on time. I think we have time for one more question. And I'm going to go with this one because I think I have a hard time with it. And so it's a two-parter. Some of you probably have already even answered this, but the question is, what was your greatest service to others this year? And who or what did you allow to serve you this year? Yeah. What was your greatest act of service? And who or what did you allow to serve you this year? Dr. Carla.
Since coming back to Colorado, one of the organizations that I've re-involved myself with is the Grand Valley Interfaith Network. And we just had our annual Thanksgiving service last week. And I was one of the speakers. And to prepare, we have 3 minutes to talk. So hand a minister a microphone and tell him you only have 3 minutes. And good luck with that. Yeah, I did it for one, but what I had done weeks prior to that is to hone down what are my core beliefs with regard to spirituality. Not necessarily new thought, also interfaith based. And then at that service, my 3 minutes was to share that declaration. And what it did was to open the door to conversation after at the reception that more people than maybe I gave credit for in the audience were way open to the idea that, yeah, they just can't handle one religion anymore. And that they were very grateful to hear a minister who used to lead churches saying that, that's not my path now. And as much as I know there is a place for churches and organizations and things like that, and I so value the education that I have received and continue to provide myself, I don't really want to be the church leader at this time in my life. And I'm not even volunteering at churches. I've done the UU, I've done Unity, I've done religious science, and that's just not where my heart is anymore. And to be able to have this forum to say those words is scary. So I relish Steve Albert and Abigail and Don Chatfield, and I'm hoping to be in contact with them next year because I really want to get through the holidays without adding any more to my plate. But I am grateful for the science of mind philosophy that allows me to be open at the top, that there's no limit to how I interpret or put these principles into practice.
Exactly.
So
thank you, Dr. Carla. Appreciate that. Beautiful. Dr. Sherry.
My biggest act of service, I have a very dear longtime friend who has the same birthday I have. And not too long ago, just a few months ago, her son was out riding his bicycle. He's a high school teacher, musician, had a heart attack and died, just like that.
Wow.
and she called me to do the memorial service. Now, her kids don't have any kind of religious structure or anything. And he was a very popular teacher. So I'm in a standing room only place giving a talk about why people died when other people need them. And so I did the God thing, you know. I said, okay, God, this is beyond me. I'm going to open my mouth, you talk. And it worked. Of course it did. It was wonderful. And I think part of the reason that I was able to do that is because what served me most, not to sound like a broken record, but what served me most this year and the year before this year was Anton. Anton has given me structure. Anton has given me community. Anton has given me family. Anton has given me support and love. So.
Thank you. All right. I have no more hands up. I am going to share one thing. Wait, Michelle, did you want to say something? Because you have your hand on your heart like you want to say something. Yes, go ahead.
Oh my gosh, you know me so well, PJ. Did you see the debating going on in my head?
I did.
Know, maybe, I don't know. Dang you for calling me out. Because this is gonna maybe sound odd. I don't know, but I guess I'll say it anyway.
It's what it is, baby.
What I do for a living is serve. And I get paid for it. So that's why I'm thinking, well, it's not really service, but it is, because it is always my intention, no matter whether it's as executive director of Anton or whether it's coaching clients or teaching my own private classes, I want to always give more than what's like in the job description. I really want to serve whoever I'm working with in a really high way. So then I was thinking, well, what have I done like that wasn't that? And I thought of something. So Reverend Jeannie, wherever you are, I don't see your face right now, but there you are. So this is one way that I get to serve. And that is I have an office, beautiful office suite. And for the last year, Reverend Jeannie and her colleague, Michelle Davis, with Begin Within Ministries, who are a member of Anton, have used my office space for their sofa Sundays. And I rent out that space, but I'm not renting it to them because I want to serve their ministry in that way. And so that's a total complete service that I offer, and I love doing it. It makes my heart sing that you, Jeannie, you guys have that space. So I love that. How am I served? I am served so much by everyone that I serve. It's really quite mutual. You know, I get so much back from the people that I work with, that I get to play with in classes and at Anton. So it's a very much of a mutual serving and being served relationship.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. I think we need to, do we need to kind of wrap it up there? Oh, wait, Celeste Turkin has her hand raised up, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Go ahead, Celeste. I'm sorry.
Okay, I was trying to get in before you said that, but
you got it. Yeah, it's fine.
I have a question for everyone that I would love to get some answers for. Does anybody have any special plans because of the way the calendar is working out at the end of this year, with having December 24th on a Sunday and New Year's Eve being on a Sunday? And do you want to have a service at 4 a.m. as it is in Florida, and then one again at 11 a.m. or so? I'm open to suggestions to bring up to the other ministers in Boca. So thank you in advance.
Yeah. So if anybody has anything, if you don't want to say it out, go ahead and put it in the chat, and because that's going to be saved, and Bill can send it out. Oh, Bill does have his hand raised up. What's up, Bill?
New Thought Philadelphia has a tradition of celebrating the winter solstice, which is on the 21st, which is a Thursday. So it's sometimes difficult to get people to change their plan and have Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve be on a Thursday a week or two beforehand. But if the leadership wants to do it, you can certainly sell it. And we're taking advantage of the of New Year's Eve being on a fifth Sunday, the last Sunday of the month. We usually do a healing celebration when there's a fifth Sunday. And we've got white stones from Jerusalem. We give everybody a white stone, and that will become a special white stone ceremony to create a new name for yourself for the new year. So crib something from somebody else's religion and give up the things that are going to interfere with the schedule. That's my suggestion, Celeste. And think of what's going to work for you and sell it.
Yeah, yeah. We're going to go ahead and do a burning bowl on Sunday morning. Right after the service, we'll just go ahead and do a burning bowl right after that. So, and then we have regular stuff that we do afterwards. So we'll let that go and just do a burning bowl service. So that's the 31st. Hadn't even thought about the Christmas Eve. It's interesting. I guess because we're just so much older, none of us really have any children we're worried about running home to see. So I didn't even think about that. Yeah. But anyway. Oh, Sherry, you have your thing up, and then we're gonna go ahead and close.
Yeah, on the Christmas Eve, I got nothing. But for New Year's Eve, I'm part of the Global Heart of Peace Initiative for CSL, and we're all across the country, and having to get up at dark 30 is kind of, not real popular. So we made a video, which will be broadcast on Facebook at noon Greenwich Mean Time on New Year's Eve, while we're all snug in our nice warm houses, wearing warm sweaters and fuzzy socks and drinking hot chocolate.
Excellent. All right. Thank you all so much for being here, for sharing your hearts and your souls and your spirituality. I appreciate you so much. I do want to remind you to go ahead and, if you don't already, sign up. Make sure you're signed up for Thought Leader Thursday, because you get all these wonderful updates and reminders and things like that. Also, we do have something. We have the Anton monthly call to prayer, which is on. Is it every Tuesday, Bill?
Second Tuesday of the month.
Second Tuesday of the month. Okay, so it's in December on the 12th. So do sign up for that. And I don't think it's ever too much to always be talking about the Anton retreat. So the 2024 retreat in October next year is boundless, and it's going to be boundless. It always is. Also, just a reminder for Michelle. She didn't say anything about this, but I'm gonna go ahead and remind everybody that we're still working on that book. So if you haven't, so if you haven't sent anything in, go ahead and go online. And offer some of your spiritual wisdom, be a part of the New Thought authorship. And so yes. Yeah.
December 31st is the hard stop for articles. Please log on as a member, check out the page. It'll give you all the criteria. If you've written one article, you probably have another one in you. So go ahead and submit another one. We are wanting more articles. So please.
Yes, I better get mine in.
Yes, PJ, you should.
Bill, is there anything we should be telling? I'm gonna get you, Natalie. I see you. Bill, is there anything you want to share with us we need to know?
Lots of stuff is on the website, and membership renewals for Anton members come up the first of the year. If you're not a member of Anton and you join now, then your membership will go all the way through 2024. And the events that we're having on the website, the ones that are not paid, if you sign up and register for them, like PJ said, you will get reminder emails, and you also won't get any more invitations to join them. Even if you say, I'm not going to this time, it turns the system off. So just a friendly thing to know. That's all I got.
Thank you so much, Bill. Natalia, really quickly before you get shut off.
Sure. I just wanted to take a moment to announce that the New Light Temple, which is the ordaining body of All Faith Seminary International, will be presenting what we do monthly services, monthly interfaith services online each third Thursday of each month. And this particular month, it falls on solstice, and we're going to be presenting music from world faith traditions across the planet. I can send you all a flyer and invite you all if you'd like to come. I will enclose a flyer to you as soon as possible.
Thank you, Reverend Natalie. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for being here. Have a wonderful holiday. Michelle, I may not see you till you come back from India. Have a great time. Yeah, have a great time. All right. I'll see you, of course, at the board meeting, but.
Steve has a little snack for us.
Yay. Oh, good, because I'm hungry. That looks great.
That's delicious. Breakfast.
Well,
Yahoo!
and for those of you who don't eat meat, there's plenty of buns and coffee down below.
It looks wonderful.
Yes.